I think the Warriors are the team to beat, not just in the West, but in the entire league. I'm taking Sean Livingston over Andrew Wiggins. I'm sorry.
I
Sean
would too.
Livingston.
Whoa.
What it is? What's good, YouTube? It's Favorite Starting Five. Everybody say what's up.
What's good? What's good?
What's up, yo?
Yo.
What's up, yo? What's up, yo?
Yes,
What's up?
What's
What's
going
up?
on?
What's up?
Alright.
What's up?
Yeah, so today on the court, what we got is a Brooklyn Nets and Golden State game that happened tonight. Let me just swing over to my man Philip. Tell us what's going on.
All right, so as we all know, the game just finished, and the Warriors absolutely dominated the Brooklyn Nets. It ended 117-99. And the thing I noticed about the game, firstly, Steph Curry, absolutely sensational performance, 37 points, 9 for 14 from three. But the thing that I noticed the most is just the gap is much bigger than we thought. I think the Warriors are the team to beat, not just in the West, but in the entire league. I think that is the team that everyone's gonna have to get through. Um, it's very reminiscent of the 2015 Warriors when they won it all. The strength in numbers, it's just I see that team in this team, and I think all the pieces gel really well together. They still got a top underrated coach though, Steve Kerr, in the league, is able to make in-game adjustments, one of the best in the league at that. And with the way Steph's playing, and then what we're hearing about Clay, how he's progressing, I think come postseason time, this team is going to be the one that everyone's chasing.
I also heard that he's like participating in like 5v5 scrimmages at practices now. So
Yeah.
yo, he might be
Seems like he's
coming back
Yeah.
sooner than later.
No, I heard about that too. I had to pick him up on fantasy because even if he's injured, if he comes back, Christmas, once he comes back, Clay is just Clay. Like he's dirty.
Clay,
He's gonna
man.
cook. He's gonna
Um,
cook.
and yeah, like we talked about last video. If you didn't watch it, go check it out right now. I was just saying that this Warriors team is not even at its best. Like they're still waiting on Clay, Wiseman, and Wiseman put up a lot of good numbers last season. Played very well for them. And one thing that it might be a hot take, but I think you guys agree with me is like once everyone's back, this is probably the best Warriors team. This is probably the best Warriors team besides like the KD Warriors. Like I would say this is a better roster than their championship run. You take out Harrison Barnes, you have Poole. You're younger, you're more athletic. They have Poole, Wiggins, Wiseman. Obviously Draymond's not as impactful, I think, on the numbers, but on the court he's still as impactful. But yeah, this Warriors team is definitely like the team to beat right now. And once everyone's healthy and back, their chemistry is so high that everything is just gonna gel right away. They're gonna continue on that spree.
Yeah.
Uh, Before we move on to John, I'm taking Sean Livingston over Andrew Wiggins. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Sean
I would too.
Livingston.
I think I would too. I
Sean
would too.
Livingston,
I would too.
100% field goal percentage
would too.
in the arc.
I would.
He doesn't miss a miss.
And
His
He
and
doesn't
that
mid-range,
guy,
his middies,
miss
his
a miss.
middies
you
are
know what
crazy.
crazy? I actually seen a video where it's like, I would take 5 Sean Livingstons versus 5 KDs because Sean Livingston doesn't miss. He's not
Doesn't
missing
miss.
a shot.
Oh, I've never seen him miss.
and
I've
another
never
thing
seen it. I
is,
still have
that
it.
guy is actually clams too. That's another thing.
He's
Yeah.
That guy used to
he's
be
better on
clams.
defense. He's better
Yeah,
on
yeah,
defense.
yeah.
For sure.
But anyways,
Underrated.
bringing it back to the current Golden State Warriors team. Like you guys touched it all. The team, you could just tell like they gel very well. The chemistry is there. Although they're not at full potential, everybody is contributing on whatever end they're on. The defensive, offensive end, right? Everyone's contributing. Gary Payton the second, he's been playing so well for them on the defensive end.
Mhm.
Yes, he can dunk the ball and get those highlight reels, but on the defensive end where he's needed, he is there to show. And there's just one thing like I noticed about this team is just the fact that they have very young, inexperienced players gelling with the older veterans like Draymond and Steph. It just shows the leadership that's on this team, and as to why they are very successful this year and having this amazing start. I feel like Draymond Green is just the one that's holding them all together. It just the fact that they can just put whoever from 1 to 13 players on the team on the court, and they can do do what they need to do. It's amazing to see, especially with a young team like this Golden State Warriors team.
Yeah, Draymond Green's the glue. I think he's the glue of the team. Like if he wasn't there, they wouldn't be as good. They would not be nearly as good, I think. I think Draymond Green is just he's that guy who leads
But
everyone more
but
so
you
than
have
Steph, to be honest.
you have to consider one thing. They have the best shooter of all time, the guy that should take the last shot if the fate of the universe is on the line. They have Iguodala on the team. They got him back. So all I'm saying is, last year they were in the play-in. This year they're the number one team. So
Exactly.
maybe my boy Max Kellerman was right. Iguodala.
Last time I checked, he locked down LeBron. No, that's why he won Finals MVP.
No, I didn't. I don't
MVP.
remember that. I don't think that happened.
He locked his ass up. I remember that.
Nah,
Well,
That's up with a triple double.
I'm
LeBron had
gonna
a triple double, locked him up, by the way.
yeah,
So
locked him up.
I'm gonna briefly mention one thing about in regards to our two leading MVP potential MVPs. We once said that KD was the best scorer in the league this year. I definitely think it's Steph. You watch the way they play, especially tonight. KD was trying to get that mid-range off. He did try to go for a couple threes. This wasn't really there. Steph, he could get a three off at any angle.
Are you talking about this year or like in general, like in
No,
total?
no, this year. This year,
Oh,
Steph
okay,
is the best scorer
Yeah.
this year.
For sure. I agree with
as
that.
of right now.
As of right now.
I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh,
I don't know. I
You-
still
you don't-
put
you-
KD as a better scorer, but I think Curry is he's just hot right now. Like you're feeling it. When you're
No.
feeling it, you're
This,
you're on a
this
treat.
is Curry on a regular game. 9 threes. You check back. You got 7 threes. You got 6. It's never any less than 4 or 5. Like that's a low 3-point total for Curry. 4 or 5 threes a game. Like that is ridiculous.
No, but
and
you also have to
his
take
sheer
in
efficiency as
into
well.
consideration. He only shoots threes majority of the time. Like he doesn't
Ah,
drive
no.
as much as he does.
He
just shoots
doesn't
threes.
he doesn't
He doesn't-
have to.
That's
he
the
does
thing
go
with
in.
Steph. He's
does
very
go in.
unpredictable. He can.
Yeah.
You have to
He
guard him
he
right
could go
at
in.
half court.
It's like it's
You
crazy.
have to guard him at half court, so he can
Yeah.
either you guard him
That's
at
true.
half and he's blowing by you because he can dribble the ball too, right?
But
Or he's
at the end of
pulling
the
up.
day, though, last shot of the game, I'm taking KD over Steph for sure. Because I
Taking
would
Steph.
definitely prefer.
Ooh.
I'm taking Steph, bro.
It depends what
Okay,
type of shot. It
no.
depends what type of
No,
shot it is.
no
It depends
way.
on what type of shot it is.
I don't know.
If it's
I-
a drive and kick to Steph or KD, I'm taking Steph.
I'd
But
also like
if
to
it's the
say
ball in hand, dribble,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
taking
yeah.
KD.
ISO play.
Yeah.
I'm always
Nah,
taking
I'm
KD.
taking KD.
but-
majority of the time is gonna have to be a 3-pointer. It's rarely a layup you need.
Okay,
or you're gonna
but
take.
you
Or
said
maybe-
better
I was gonna be a
scorer.
shot.
Scorers
And
points.
I'm taking Steph.
I don't know. If you're talking about points, strictly points, KD's averaging more points than Curry this year. He's
Mhm.
averaging
totally-
29.6, and Curry's
That's
averaging
totally-
28.1.
Yeah, but you're
Nah.
taking
That's
the dynamic
scoring.
of both the teams.
That's scoring.
KD right now is carrying the Nets. Curry, he's the guy on the team, but he's a piece. Like you have Jordan Poole coming
but-
in. You know what I
Whoa,
mean?
whoa,
Like, you have-
whoa, but think about this.
Other guys are scoring. Just look at the point total this game.
What about Harden?
No, but
Harden scored.
Yeah,
Harden's
but you
doing
you have
that.
to think about that. KD has to spread the ball with Harden. Curry, who's their like? I guess they do have scorers, but not as a scorer like Harden or anything. Like at the end of the day, Curry's the main guy to score on that team. If you're gonna go to
By
anyone, it's
far.
always gonna be Curry. KD, you could
By
go to
far,
Harden
yeah.
as well. You can you
Yeah.
can go to either one, but KD's still scoring more than Curry.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
take
mean,
that
you-
into consideration.
You watch the
I
way
watched.
these guys are scoring the ball. KD, he needs to dribble. He needs to get open. He needs to create a shot. Steph, he just runs around the court, screen, pop. You know what I mean? So it's just too easy. It's too easy for him at this point. It's too easy.
That's
for
what
him
I'm trying
at
to
this point,
say.
you know what I mean?
Yo,
So-
at the end of the day, you never know what type of shot you're gonna get. You just have to get the ball in and get the ball up. So in those
Mhm.
moments, I trust that KD, as soon as he gets the ball, this guy knows the type of play he has to make, whether he has to ISO, whether he has to shimmy, take it to the rack. I know KD's gonna find a way to get a bucket. Steph, as you said, he might need a screen, he might need to run around, But if they
Mhm.
trap that, they trap it, right? Like I think
Listen,
KD
he doesn't
is very
need a
creative.
screen. He
No,
doesn't need a screen. Not
need
get
a screen.
assistance. Doesn't
But
need a
no,
screen.
not even like that. But I feel like KD is just so creative with the way that he scores that he can just
I,
pull up from
I,
anywhere,
I
and
think
it's almost almost guaranteed to go in.
I think with KD, it's not that he is, yes, he's creative when he's scoring, but like one thing, he's 7 foot that could dribble
Yeah,
the ball,
I think the
right?
main thing is
So
he
that
can't
like
get
if
blocked.
he wasn't 7 foot,
yeah,
I
no
don't
debate.
think he would be as good of as a scorer as he is right now, right?
Facts.
Obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
but then
Sure.
even during this game, you could tell he was struggling from the field. You could
But
tell.
But you could.
this is the only thing I'll say. This is the only thing I'll say about him. Before coming into this game, he was shooting nearly 60%. So this is
Mhm.
one of the few off games. Like he's not
Mhm.
gonna go 60% every single game, but he was averaging 30 points on super efficient shooting. This is one like rare off game that I've seen from him this season, 6 for 19.
Yeah,
So he has been really efficient this year.
Yeah,
my
and you
man
also have to think
said,
about Steve Kerr's is the most recent coach. Obviously, Steve Kerr knows how to guard KD after coaching him for all those years. Like
yeah.
it's just like it makes sense that if you were to have an off game, it would be against that team because they know how to play against him. It just
Yeah.
makes the most sense.
And one thing to reel it back to the Nets, because obviously we're talking about how good the Warriors are. Although the Nets are playing, they're playing very good too. They're high in the East. I think these type of moments are when you really miss Kyrie, because a lot of people don't understand that when you try to get the big stars, you're sacrificing the depth, right? So the Warriors, for example, they have the depth, they have the players that can help and assist if Steph is having an off night, if Clay's having an off night. So if on a night like tonight where James Harden puts up, a little 24, 4 and 4, and you see KD struggling, it's like who is there to really, back them up and fill that gap in the scoring? That's where like either you have a
They're
guy
off
like
night.
Kyrie or you have a couple of people on the bench to, help out with that.
That,
So
that's the thing with the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like that's the missing piece. I feel like maybe it's not because of KD and Harden, they're not getting the team involved, but I feel like that they're not playing together as a team. I feel like not everybody is impacting on the court. You know what I mean? Contributing on the court when they're all five of them are on the court at the same time. You know what I'm trying to say? I like
yeah,
on the offensive end, if you really watch it, it's literally just KD Harden. No one else is
literally,
really
Hmm.
impacting on the offensive end. So the defensive team could really just focus and put their eyes on two players realistically, right?
yeah,
Rather than on Golden State, you have Andrew Wiggins, you have Jordan Poole, you have Steph, you have Draymond, you have Iguodala, you have all these players that can actually contribute on both ends, right? But I
yeah,
feel that's why I feel like the Golden State is they're just having one hell of a season because they have like Philip said, strength in numbers from 1 to 13 players on the
yeah.
team, and they're not even at full strength. It just shows like the team diff that they have.
Again, the big thing again. That's another thing I noticed. Like I'm alluding to what you guys are saying about the others. Um, you got to have somebody who can create for others. James Harden is the only person who can create for others on the Brooklyn Nets roster when Kyrie's not there. On the Warriors, Draymond Green can create for others, Jordan Poole, Steph Curry. But the other thing is that their offense is so fluid in the way they set off ball screens that those others are able to get open shots. The Brooklyn Nets don't run it like that. So those guys, those others are not getting those easy shots that Gary Payton twos and Otto Porters are getting because their offense is just not as good. It's just simply not as good. So that's another huge part of it as well. You need someone who can create for others instead of just having the personnel. So when Steph's gone, you got guys who are just running around. Their offense stays the same. Bielitsa like takes the Draymond role, so like they don't lose anything when it goes to the bench.
And I feel like even now, like with James Harden, I feel like he just, like we mentioned earlier in previous videos, he's not himself. It just doesn't seem like he's himself this year, so as of right now. Like I just feel like he's not. Yes, he's putting up the numbers, but I feel like he's just not as a threat. Like you can see him every other play complaining to the ref about a foul and little touch fouls here and
Mhm.
there, right?
It's the rule change.
Yeah.
If
So
it screwed his game.
I just feel like he's not as he's not facilitating the ball as he was in Houston.
Mhm.
It just I don't know. It's just sad to
It
see
all
that they're
comes
all
down to
playing
like
ISO ball.
it all comes down to like his control over the game, right? He's a lot of his game was drawing the fouls, being that threat of drawing a foul on Harden was his main game, really and truly. And he's lost that control now, especially with the rule changes targeting players like him. He's gonna have a lot harder time, being an offensive threat, creating those openings and really getting really he needs to understand and adapt to the new flow of the game. It's not going to be you're not going to come off a screen and draw a foul. You're not going to dribble it out and hook a man and draw a foul anymore. So his flow is definitely disturbed, and he has to come up with a new game style. He's still putting up good
Exactly.
numbers, which is great, but we're not going to see the same old Harden, at least for a while.
But yeah, like there was a point in the NBA where players are guarding Harden with their hands behind their back because they just didn't want to get called for a foul. Like the fact that players had to do that to guard you is like that's how you know you take advantage of the system completely over any other player. Because who plays defense with their hands behind their back unless you can't shoot? So the fact that they're
Mhm.
doing that to Harden, it's like, bro, he took advantage of the system and now it's basically karma at this point. He can't find this flow in the game anymore.
Satisfying. It's satisfying seeing him not getting those calls anymore. And there's so many times where he gets by his man and he still tries to hook his defender when he
Yeah.
has an
Yeah.
open lane. Just use your floater. He's so talented. He's
Yeah.
a former MVP.
One of the
You're
best
talented.
scorers of all
One of the
time.
best
And
scorers. You can get it any time.
yeah.
So it's
Yep.
frustrating when
I
he
think
has
it's
an
just
open
like
lane
a
and
like
trying to
muscle
hook.
memory, right? So for him, it's like
Yeah.
a muscle memory to hook a player on a layup or jump into a player. But that's why it's not just him, right? Like a lot of players are struggling. Dame is struggling. I think a lot of players' numbers are down. Booker, those pure scorers who used to take advantage of the rules. But no, I can't lie. It's low key like nice to see them, struggling with the rule changes because I think everyone wants to see like real
Real
basketball, real
basketball
defense being played.
without somebody
The guys who
shooting
are yeah,
shooting 20 free throws a game.
Yeah.
yeah,
Also,
exactly.
slightly unrelated since we're talking about people's games being off. A bit controversial here, but the players themselves said that they don't like the new basketballs, and there's actually been stats of like the overall 3-point percentage for the league has gone down because, well, not because we don't know yet, but with these new basketballs coming in, that's the result. So that could also be drawing back players' games and such.
Because they
Maybe.
switched from Spalding to Wilson, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
I
I'm
It's
more
safe.
like water
It's
with
safe.
Wilson though, you know what I
I
mean?
don't think the ball has to do with anything. I guess it's just an
Probably not.
excuse for them, right? Look at Steph. Steph's still scoring. KD's still scoring. Jan, like everybody's still scoring the basketball, but the fact that like a little 1, 2, 3 players here and there are obviously complaining. It's just I mean, I think it's personally I think it's just an excuse for them. But yeah.
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 I, I,
I think
I
yeah.
think
Oh no, you can
I think
go.
I
Go ahead.
heard the ball. I think NBA players were actually saying like the grip on the ball is different, the ball feels different, and also the way it like if you were to like English it off the glass, it like doesn't. It's not the same as a Spalding. It's gonna spin a certain different way, so you gotta like kind of adjust the way you kind of like spin it off the backboard, which
Yeah.
is something I thought that was interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
like you guys
At
said, I don't
that
think it's
level,
huge.
yeah, no,
uh,
definitely. Like at that level, like you have the game broken down to a science, So of course you study the ball itself. You learn to work with the ball itself. So like hitting certain angles and shooting certain ways, and like I said, down to the grip. Like if anybody's gonna notice it, it's gonna be the NBA players. If it's gonna affect
100%.
anybody's game, it'll be the NBA players' game. You
Yeah.
yeah.
know what I mean?
And
So
Because
yeah,
think
I
about
mean,
it. In the
exactly.
in the
it,
off season, they're gonna be using the exact same ball, for the whole time that they're in the NBA, probably for years and years. Off season, whenever they're playing, they're using that exact same Spalding ball. So I mean, I don't think it's 100% like obviously like Nick said, the ball. I think a lot of it is excuses, but you never know. Like you said, they took it down to a science. So once you're that adjusted to like a certain type of play and a certain type of like aspect to the ball, then maybe it has a factor. But I definitely think it's more the rule changes that are definitely impacting most of these scores for sure.
Sure.
I
Sure.
think the players who are complaining are the players who took advantage of it. Like Lillard, he complained about not getting, they're missing so many calls this year. It's like, bro, they just changed the rule on you, and that's why you're complaining. Like, you're not scoring as much. That's the only reason you're complaining. And majority of the players that are complaining are the ones who took advantage. So it just goes to show that's just their game. That's what they were learned to do, and now they gotta adapt.
In conclusion, I think we both can say, we all can say, the Golden State Warriors are just a better team this season so far than the Brooklyn Nets. Their
So far.
chemistry just
They're the best team.
overcomes
They're the best team.
So far, yeah.
overcomes all the
But-
other teams, and Steph as a leader is just showing what he can do, and is bringing back the 2016 MVP Steph Curry.
Yes, sir. But to be devil's advocate, you know, it's very, very early. Not even like I'm probably like
Sure.
just a quarter in.
It is very
Things can change. Like we're seeing the Bucks low. We're seeing a lot of the teams that we expect. Even obviously, you know, Lakers. We're seeing all these teams that you would expect to be high, very low, and a lot of these unpredictable teams are higher, like the Bulls, the Warriors. So, you know, I think although right now we're saying Steph, hopefully he continues this play, and I would like to see the Warriors continue that, especially when the new guys come in, Wiseman and Clay. But we can't get too ahead of ourselves, you know. We got to see how it plays out for sure.
Oh, for sure.
taking Washington Wizards is first. They're not gonna stay there. Sorry,
No,
they're
they-
not gonna stay there.
They'll probably be a play.
They're going down.
They'll probably be a play.
Who's gonna
They're going
go?
down.
But
Where to go?
anyways, I guess we're gonna end the video there, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the 5-Out podcast. This is your favorite starting five, and just make sure you like the video,
Turn it up.
follow all the
Follow the
socials,
man.
turn on post notives, and phone a friend. You know what I mean? Show some love to us. And but
sure.
yeah, it's your favorite starting five. It's a 5-Out podcast, and we are out.
Sure.
Peace.
Peace.